My name is Jonathan Burns, and I have a company called Flex Eats. And I, along with Eslam and Fabio, have thrown together this event, and it's for the Skåne Food Entrepreneurs Network. Everybody here is probably involved in some way with food production, likes to talk about food, at least eats food. And so I think it's a good thing that we all get together and share our experiences, share our resources and our network. So if you haven't already gone on to the Facebook page for Skåne Food Entrepreneurs Network, please go on and like and follow and share it. Because I mean, it's a network, so let's get it as big as possible, and that way we can all pool our resources and be more effective in creating business and getting our great products and ideas out there. So I'd like to introduce Eslam, who came up with the idea of starting this great network and brought on me and Fabio and everybody else. If you'd like to also be a part of it, just let us know and let's all work together. But Eslam, I think, should give us a minute of his time and tell us how he came to the idea.
Hello, I'm happy that's all of you here. Actually, the plan was I prepare a talk and repeat it and blah blah blah, and to be like the second after Steve Jobs in his Stanford talk, but I didn't do this. So actually I will talk my mind. I am food entrepreneur. I started to work with food since I have been little kid. When I was 8 years old, I started to work with my father. It was in Egypt, and my background is agricultural science. But when I had been 8 years old, started to work with my father in his shop, and I used to buy the cereals and egg from farmers and give them grocery instead or in money, and I used to learn very good skills like knowing how to examine the egg manually, if it is valid or not. So, and then I have been like working with my father 10 years, and then I came here to Sweden. I started to work with food import and wholesale. So that's basically most of my life about food, and I studied agricultural science in Egypt and at SLU. When I came here to Minc, I found like tech guys everywhere, just like what you're doing. I'm doing application, I'm doing website, so where's food guys? I don't meet them. So I started to think how I can get some people sharing the same interest, talking about food, helping me in getting into the market, or I can help them with selling their products, or whatever we can help each other. So I started to know Flex Eats and trying to talk to anyone work with food, but it was just like we are kind of friends. It's not like that big, so that we can really help each other. So then I started to think about like why I don't make event and bring food entrepreneurs as like what it is today. Then I have been talking to Jonas, business developer here at Ming, and I told him, hey, I got that idea that's like we have like event for food entrepreneurs to be together and to share knowledge, and if you knows Jonas, he's like, when it comes to ideas, he's the most skeptical person, just like, yeah, but when he heard it, okay, that's good, so let's do it, and we decide to be like the event in the middle of September. Later on started to think about it, so I told him when I found him just like excited about like the idea and the event, and it's good thing to do, and Skåne here is like just like they are great about food. So I told him, wait a minute, this is just like, that's the beginning. We are looking from this event to be like a seed for a network, gathering food entrepreneur together and really help each other and make it like active network, not just something on website or just like Facebook page or a group. We need like real active network can help our businesses to grow and can get us from to national wide and even international wide for products and services and applications and so on can be, for example, in the Middle East, there are a lot of great things. I find it here. I can just like easily put it over there. I just be working there as well. So I mean, just like Jonathan just from the US can do something similar to promote the network, to promote all these companies to international level. So then second day I talked to Jonathan and I told him, here, that's like we are doing event, and he said, that's like told me, I am in. Then we started to push, it was just like 4 weeks to the event, we started to push to make the website, the Facebook group, the event, and like get my designer to make like a logo, and actually Jonathan was a great help for me, and Fabio came recently as just like he has a great energy, and I encourage every one of you to come and help us and put a question on the group and do everything to make this network active, because it will not be active by me. I am just like one person or the team. It will be active by you. So thank you, and that's all about it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think it's obvious that we want to pool all of our resources. It'd be really good if in the future, if you have any ideas on how we can collaborate all together. Maybe in the future we have a food event coming up, maybe that's sponsored by the state. You know, we just had Mama Festival. Fabio had a stand there for his tapioca, and there's no reason why we couldn't have a SFEN tent that if you'd like to come and showcase your products or your service or anything, that you should be able to come and do that. And if we pool our resources, then it can we can get it maybe cheaper, or at least make it easier for somebody who has a small thing to be part of something big. So speaking about somebody who's made something very big, Thomas is here from Caliente, and he's going to talk about his journey about Caliente and his network.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Let me set up. So, okay, good afternoon everyone. First of all, big thanks to Eslan, Jonathan and Fabio for inviting me here. It's we're not so big. We've been struggling for a while, but the whole idea is to share a little bit about the role of networks when you're doing something that many of us is trying to do. A few words about Caliente. More and more people drink less and less alcohol. So why should people who don't drink alcohol have so much less choice when you're out there? And why are those choices usually sort of bad copies of original, or sugary soft drinks, or just water? Instead of trying to copy the flavor, the whole idea with Caliente is we're trying to copy a little bit of the feeling of alcohol. You know, that burning sensation, the little kick of the endorphins, and you know, a sip-friendly drink. And we do that by adding capsaicin, the stuff that makes chili hot. So we're using the heat from chili to make a much more interesting drink. So of course it's also less sugar. It's you know, filled up in Småland, the deepest forest of Småland, and we have some for everyone to try afterwards. So I hope you also like it. So that was a very quick picture of what I'm talking about. I have this very cute thing on my finger here. It's supposed to help me here. So I will tell you a little bit longer about Caliente, because obviously every time you get a chance to talk to, and you're going to share something, you want to do your little pitch as well. So I hope you bear with me for a few minutes. But basically, our vision is to make it easier to choose non-alcoholic. So that's pretty easy. As I said, more and more people, and I think this is pretty big. I actually think this is the next big trend, and it's already happening. Like a few years ago, when someone was in a restaurant saying, do you have something vegetarian or vegan? And people would actually ask you, why don't you eat meat? Today, people still ask if you don't drink alcohol. So why don't you drink alcohol? Are you pregnant or are you Muslim? Or I think that's changing rapidly. And I think if you talk to 20, 25-year-olds today, the number of people who are not drinking alcohol is increasing dramatically. So back to this question now. So if you're going into a bar and you're not drinking alcohol, and you ask the bartender, so what do you have? Well, you can make some juice or you can have some ginger beer. Basically, you have, in good cases, 5 or 6 options, usually much less. If you drink alcohol, imagine the experience that you can have in terms of trying different wines, different grape sorts, craft beer, you name it, And it's the same need, I guess, for anyone, whether they drink alcohol or not. So when we say that non-alcoholic beer is growing, yeah, it's amazing, it's great, and the non-alcoholic beer is getting better, but it can't compare to the choices that you have if you're drinking alcohol. So I believe that there's going to be a lot of new drinks coming out there, which has a lot of interesting things about the flavor, more complexity, more layers of flavors, which are also non-alcoholic. So just like me, who's not vegetarian, when I go for a lunch, I very often take a vegetarian lunch. Why? Because it sounds good, not because I'm avoiding meat. And I think it's the same thing. I'm in a bar in the future. It might be I have a gin or tonic, but then maybe, I have this other non-alcoholic. Why? Because it tastes good, And I think when people start realizing that, you can say, well, then it's going to be really, really big. So it's not just the people avoiding alcohol, it's everyone else as well. That's what I believe, at least. So, why chili? And I tell you a bit about, have you heard of capsaicin? Everyone heard of capsaicin. Capsaicin is the stuff in chili that makes it hot. And tell you a secret, it's actually not hot. It's just this substance is connecting with the receptors of heat in your body that tells the brain there's heat going on, this is burning. So the body reacts to that. And it goes for all mammals. But the reason we know it's not really true is because for birds it's not really true. Birds do not have this effect, so they can pick away on a hot habanero and not really feel that type of sensation. So it tells the brain there's heat going on, so you release endorphins, you get a bit of a kick. So that's the kick, But you have that burning sensation, it becomes sip-friendly, just like an alcoholic drink. And it becomes a more interesting, experience. Don't take it from me, if you haven't tried it, you can try it afterwards. So this is our portfolio today. We have 4 flavors. They're all here, so you can try them out. Then, of course, other things that are more like hygiene factors for us is, of course, it should be organic. Of course, it shouldn't be that much sugar. We don't want sweeteners, but we don't want too much sugar. It's partly because of the flavor, but also partly because we don't want too much sugar, because it's not so good for you. And of course, it's low-scale production and all of these things. We got a lot of attention when we came out, so we won some pretty big awards, like the Global Beverage Innovation Award. We've been asked to speak at a lot of different innovation conferences, and one of the most fun things is the Drinkpreneur, which is actually a network in Europe for beverage entrepreneurs. And when they rated us, they actually gave us the highest score they ever given. So those are beverage nerds, so we quite like them. And the last one is actually during this week when Food and Friends, which is the biggest advertising agency focusing on, food, beverages, and meals, they do their yearly trend spanning, the trend report. And then they are talking about this trend as well and how it's really taking off. And they take 3 examples then, Seedlip from the UK, Shrub District from New York, and then Caliente from Sweden. So we're obviously super chuffed about that. So in good company. I don't think we're selling as much as these guys yet, but we're working on it. But they talk about, you know, new complex drinks. This is not non-alcoholic beer. This is not an organic soft drink. These are new beverage concepts. That's the whole concept. So, I think networks means everything. When I was asked then, okay, can you talk a little bit about what network means? And I said, well, I don't know. It's then when you start thinking about it, you know, you can talk for hours, because every little thing that you've done and succeeded with, you know that it's actually, it's because of people that you know, or the people that know people that you know, and it's the network, I really think, is everything. So I will just take a few examples here. So of course I will start with me, because in the network I'm the center of my network, and this is just a few things. I spent 20 years almost with Tetra Pak, so I'm one of these. I'm not one of these, you know, people who've been entrepreneur all my life. I became entrepreneur at old age. I left Tetra Pak about 4 years ago. Before that, I worked for Procter & Gamble. I went to Stockholm School of Economics, and I put them up there because actually they have meant quite a lot. You know, you can go back to previous, you know, where you've been or schools, etc. That's where you will find it. I put Sweden and the globe, and I realized I've been spending almost 18 years abroad. So my Swedish network is actually not that great when you've been out so much. And I have a better network internationally, I would say, in general. But the biggest one is where I spent the last 20 years of my life, of course, with Tetra Pak, and it really helped me in the beginning, I would say, that network. So I go back. This is some early pictures of during the concept development. You know, two different things there. One was, you know, you're building this concept and business plan, and you want to present it. You want to get some tough feedback. I used a lot of my old colleagues, you know, because a lot of the senior executives in Tetra Pak are old Pepsi people, old Coke people, etc. They really understand the marketing, beverages industry. So a lot of very hard and constructive feedback. Then this is two different designers that I was using in the beginning. I didn't go with any of them, obviously, but they all were different people that I came across either directly in Tetra Pak or through friends in Tetra Pak. So it's really through the network. And I think it's important to point out, because when you're starting, before you have a company, before you have a really clear idea, well, who are you? I mean, who are you to come and demand some either free time or very low-cost time from people? It's difficult, you know. Suppliers, and I think this everyone who started, and you know how difficult this is. And I'll tell you a fun story about ingredients. So I think it's almost exactly 4 years ago. I went to Cologne, Anuga Food, and I was checking out, and I realized that no one else did drinks with the chili heat, which was good news then, I thought. But then, of course, I also spent a lot of time trying to find suppliers, because I need the ingredients. And I had 4 meetings during this quite long day. All of them, when I wrote back, never answered. They never answered. You're a potential customer, you would think that they would be interested. No, not really. Long after, I realized that one of my ex-colleagues happened to work at Einar Willumsen in Malmö. And guess what? You know, within a few weeks, we worked out and how I was going to work out with the different flavors and with the different ingredients. The other one is, of course, finding somewhere to produce, which is even more difficult, I would say. Once again, we pack our things. We're filling the bottles up at Trensums in Småland. I think they get, especially during the spring, they get at least two crazy people per week who wants to start something and fill it their facilities, and they're usually not that keen. Once again, through friends, old networks. I got the meetings, and even though I had to present a few times, at least then started giving quotations, because they're not so keen in the beginning. Once again, not thanks to me, but thanks to networks. This is my board, quite a happy bunch. So all of them I met earlier through my network, obviously, and I think I'm pretty proud of my board, because we have a very good mixture there with Rolf, who many people in Skåne know, especially, a bit of a Nestor here in food innovation. Marianne, who is our ordningsman in the board, the one who's the CFO background. Ex-student colleague, and then Robert, who is ex-Red Bull, and also, went to school together. We worked at Procter & Gamble a long time ago together. So, when you want to get people on your board and you don't really have much of a business, of course, networks helps you. And I think people sometimes want to avoid a board because it's problematic, I think getting an advisory board, at least with people, I think is a fantastic idea because they will help you and they will challenge you. Product development, I need to mention the Livsmedelsakademin here because we're involved in a project now, which is a little bit more of a deeper product development. Through Livsmedelsakademin, we got some help, through to Lunds Universitet, and of course. Titte Kvarnström here in the Malmö network has helped us develop the two last flavors. So once again, it's a lot of other people doing things. When we did our crowdfunding campaign, we realized that actually 40% of the money that we collected through the crowdfunding, and we thought it's great. You go out and there's a lot of people around the world who wants to invest in your company. At the end of the day, we realized that 40% of the money came from our, within our company, our network. That's what I wanted to say. Networking means everything. And when I heard about this idea, I think it's fantastic because, you said we're big. I mean, I would say we're still way too small, and we have a lot of challenges. And I find myself many times in the situation where, shit, who knows this? It could be anything from, because we're trying to export a bit. How do I drive the business with a distributor? What is the best setup in a contract with a distributor? How much margin should I give away? What should I demand? All of these things. I mean, as an example, there are always these questions. And I think as small food entrepreneurs, we're not really competing with each other. We're not even competing about the capital. I think we are. There's so much more to gain from actually sharing issues, sharing problems, and helping each other out. So that's what I wanted to say. And thanks, guys, for this initiative, and thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
Really great. Thanks, Thomas. I think it's a great idea. I have lots of friends. Actually, one of my co-developers within Flex-Eats is not drinking for a year, just as an experiment. So I think it's becoming more and more common that people are not just taking a white month in January or something like that. They're taking longer and longer periods. So I think it's really interesting. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We also have Jens here, who I would really like to come up here and speak in front of everybody. And he comes from Krajnova in Kristianstad.
Krajnova, that sounds sad.
Krajnova, I say in the Skånska. Krajnova.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can back in the computer. Hi everybody. How many of you guys are working actively as a food entrepreneur at the moment? Some of you, like half. And how many have plans how to change the world or make money from food? Or more. That's good. I don't have that fancy toy, so I'll have to go back and forth. It's going to be a short. I'm just going to say a couple of short words about Krajnova, and afterward there's going to be a mingle, right? So we can talk more. Krajnova is an organization in Kristianstad, which is in northeastern Skåne. You know Kristianstad? Yes. Some of you, yeah? Anybody heard of Krajnova before? Yes. Some have, yeah, some haven't, okay. So what we do, we are an incubator and science park, much like Minc, but we're in northeastern Skåne, which is way different. It's not we don't have a big city. Kristianstad is it broke. Yeah. So I'll go without the presentation. What we do is we have been working with food. We're the first and the biggest incubator working with food and small and medium-sized food enterprises. That's great. Okay, so let's try and get it. Okay, so hopefully this will work.
Just jump the next one because I burns.
There we go. All right. So we have at the moment we have funding, a regional funding. Are you? Did this bother you guys with keeping up? No, you're with me. Yeah. Okay, great. Because it bothered me a bit, but I'll try to restart. Okay. So we are at the moment. We have a regional funding from the region of Skåne to work in the whole of Skåne with 4 million Swedish kronors. And I was just recently bumped, so it's a big hand of applause to Kernova. Just 2 weeks ago, actually, decision was made by politicians in the region of Skåne. So we were very happy. Before, we were just working in the northeastern part and some in the region of Skåne, but now we are looking forward to working more with whole of Skåne. And as I guess most of you guys are based in Malmö, you'll probably be seeing a lot more of Kernova in the future and what we can offer. And what we can offer is we do. Well, okay. So what we do is we offer support for small and medium-sized enterprises, any branch, but we have been working with food for 10 years. So we have a history of working with the guys like you. And the network, we don't really call it network, we call it a community. We try to be part of the food community, and we try to add resources to the food community. And the resources that we can bring is help with industry like technical stuff, with making a business plan, and we can do coaching, consulting, but we do it from a challenge and open innovation perspective. So we start with what you guys do and what you want to do, and we work together with you, and we try to pinpoint a challenge that you guys need to work with to advance, and then we work with you to make something great. And it's always with you guys, what you are right now, where you are right now, what you need right now. That is also the center of our attention. And we've been working with many companies. I have some awesome pictures of Gård's Fisk. They do aquaponics in Sköttilljunga in the center of Skåne. They're doing really well. We worked with them for several years. They have their ideas. They were engineers and environmental somehow knower of some sort. And they were like, okay, so let's try and grow fish in a loop. Without wasting any resources. And they were like, okay, so what do we need? We need a space. And so they thought, let's grow in all the barns, in old farms. So they bought a big barn, and they just started from nothing. And now they have a big facility, and they're looking at making exporting it like Kronfågel. Like you can buy the whole set, and you can insert it in your old empty barn. So that's what they're doing. I also had a picture of Hörte Brygga down in near Ystad in Hörte. We worked with them on their new Lanthandel. It's a small scale locally produced food, and they offer it just next to their restaurant, and it's doing really well. I also had a picture of Helena from she works with agritourism in Österlen. And she's the inheritor of a big apple farm, but she thinks she needs to do something else in the future, so she's working with agritourism. And So what we can offer you guys is help with what you do. Just let's talk afterwards. There's gonna be a mingle. And also, I was gonna show you a big slide of our new cool food hackathon. We have a food hackathon. We do events also. This is gonna be the fourth. This January is the fourth annual food hackathon. Food hackathon is much like any hackathon, but we focus on food. It's doesn't have to be cooking. It can be thinking about food, connecting food, making apps about food, anything. And this year is special because we are cooperating with Greater Copenhagen and the Danish Technical University. So there's going to be a double hackathon. So this year is going to be on the end of January in Kristianstad and I think mid-April in Copenhagen. And anyone with an idea can participate. So that's more or less it. I'm going to stay around, and my colleague Truls was supposed to be here but is not here. So I'm going to be here to, like, if you guys want to hook up and exchange business cards or whatever. So yeah. Any questions?
You've got Facebook, I suppose?
There is Facebook, there is website, it's a big organization. We have those things in order, yes.
Perfect.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
I just would like. I just would like to add one little thing, and Fabio, part of the team, that the objective, and this was very important for me since the beginning, why to be part of a network, besides of sharing ideas, problems, solutions, is to try to get benefit as a collective group. Skåne is a very important region of Sweden when we are speaking about food. We are booming with a lot of food startups, and why not to try to get benefits as collectiveness. So one of the objectives of the network is to try to bring benefits, business benefits to us all, more than just sharing our ideas, problems and solutions. So I just would like to add this because it was very important for me since the beginning, why to be part of this. And I think that if you want to be part of this, it can be bigger and better, because more we have as partners, more benefits we can get. As Jonathan just said, as an example, the Malmö Festivalen, but there are a lot of different forums where we can try to get collective space that will be cheaper, that will be easier for everybody. So I just would like to add this. That's very important for the network, I believe.
Very well put.
Yep.
That's really great. I won't hold us back from snacks any longer, but really thank you so much for coming, especially on a day with weather like this. And we're going to try to hold another event in the next quarter, so every 3 months or so. And we're probably going to also have some smaller events, at least where me or Eslam or Fabio, we sit here at Minc, and we welcome you to come in, talk to us, and try to grow our network. And yeah, if you have any ideas, so that would be really good. Thank you so much for coming, and let's take a picture. It's great. Thanks a lot, guys. All right.
Check it, every day we're getting it. Hey, check it,